I'm going to give you 5 ways that you can hit your driver better. Let's have a look at tip number 1. So the first thing that I see from a lot of people, and we can all change this as well, it's so easy to do. When you actually walk onto the tee, a lot of people just walk up and plonk their ball in the middle of the tee box, in between the markers, and just say, I'll aim where the tee is going. There's a big problem with that. If I were to actually address my golf ball now and be in line and square to where this tee box is aiming, I'm actually aiming into trouble down the left-hand side of the fairway because the tee is actually lined up to hit it into the trees on the left. So what we need to do before we even start thinking about our golf swing and how we're going to get it on the fairway, actually just don't walk up here and go, there's the tee, done. Think about where this aims. The tee box is running out to the left-hand side. We actually want to aim a little bit more off to the right-hand side to actually get this ball in the fairway. So just think about that. You might as well, depending on trouble on the tee, you might have some overhanging trees, you might have something that means it's a dog leg, so you might want to go from side to side of the tee. You don't necessarily always need to plonk it down into the middle. Now that we've got that sorted, tip number 2 is all about getting a better, smoother takeaway. Once we hopefully have a good address, one of the big problems that I see with players that I coach is that they want to hit the driver far, we want to give it a good smack, we want to swing fast, and what we end up doing at this position is actually sort of snatching the club away, thinking, well, if I start really quick, it means that I'm only going to get faster, as well. What we want is a gradual build into that big moment of speed coming into the golf ball. A really great tip to help you with this is that if you address the golf ball and then you just place another one in behind it here, what I want to try and do is almost feel that I'm not snatching up over my golf ball here. What I want to try and do is feel that I'm actually creating some width and getting a really smooth and wide takeaway. So to do that, I feel almost that I'm going to brush this golf ball away. Works really well on a range mat because it's not as sticky as the grass. You'll be able to actually sweep the golf ball back. And as I stand here now looking down this angle, what I want to try and do is almost imagine that I'm going to brush this ball out towards the camera that's behind me. I don't want to snatch inside quickly. I want to try and get that nice, smooth and wide takeaway, which is actually going to help me generate a better golf swing, a more fluent, a more rhythmical golf swing, just with that nice, smooth takeaway. Probably the best drive I've hit down 15 in a long time. Let's take a look at tip number 3. Guys, if you're enjoying this lesson as well, make sure you become a free subscriber to the channel. Button's just down there. And as well, why don't you leave me a comment on something that you're struggling with in your game, and it'll feature in one of our next lessons. Let's take a look at the third thing that's going to get the big boy going better. So tip number 3 is all about how we actually use our body in this golf swing with the driver, because again, we want to smack the driver, we want to hit it long. And what I see a lot of people doing is thinking that it's all done with the hands and the arms, and what it actually creates is something where we have a lack of turn, and then at the top we don't actually use our shoulders. Real simple drill that we can do. You can do this at home, you can do it on the driving range, on the golf course. Take your good posture now with your driver, take that good setup, then just simply cross the club across the arms here. From here now, what I want to try and do, a lot of people would actually lack any form of turn, but what I want to try and do is get what we would call our X factor, get the upper body working against the lower body. So I'm really going to feel that I turn my shoulders over this back leg here. I'm not swaying, trying to get a big movement in and out of the golf ball. I'm trying to feel that as I go through, I get this big coil. What that'll allow me to do, that coupled with my nice sweeping takeaway, is see now that I'm really loaded, and from here now I can use my legs to start the downswing, use my arms and my shoulders, and I'll actually get a really good turn. It'll also help me actually get some good rotation and see me finish in a better position. So don't just try and throw your arms at the golf ball. Try and see that you get that smooth, wide turn, get those shoulders turned over your back leg, and we'll see that we get a better swing. Fourth tip that we need to do, you absolutely need to do this if you are going to be a better driver of the golf ball. We know we've got the tee in the right position. We know we're getting smooth takeaways and good turns. We need to start releasing the golf club. I've seen some stuff on the internet that says don't release it, we don't want to do it. Don't believe that. We create angles in the golf swing because we need to use those angles and we need to release those angles. So really simple. Imagine now if you were just going to make some half swings for me. Take your normal setup. What I want you to try and do is see that on the way back, we've started to actually create some angles. Look at how my front forearm is on top of my back forearm. And then as I would go through, I would imagine that stays the same for a lot of people. That is because of a lack of release. What I want to try and feel is that as I come through, I'm unloading all the angles, all the power I've created into the golf ball. I've released it down, and then as I get through here, look at the change. We've now got the back forearm on top of the front forearm. So don't be someone who's not releasing and carrying all your impacts through impact and then actually trying to get it in through here. Make sure we release those angles into impact and get that nice follow through where we see something where it looks a little bit more like this. And really simple, all you need to be doing is just having some practice swings where you're just feeling it. Let them fold over, let those forearms fold, and you'll start to probably feel the club head whipping a little bit quicker and actually starting to feel like you're actually getting a little bit of speed and a good little bit of rhythm into your golf swing. A bit like that one. That is a nice golf shot down this hole. Let's take a look at our fifth and final thing that is going to make us a better driver of the golf ball. Fifth and final thing, we need to monitor our strikes. So simply putting some spray on the club face like this, dry shampoo there, need it as a bald man. We want to see that we're going to get the ball coming out of somewhere near the middle. A lot of times I see people getting it heely and toey, and there's a real simple reason which I'll show you in a second, and then they're trying to make really weird and wonderful changes as where it can be as something as simple as actually how close we stand to the golf ball. If I create a good posture and I get a good setup, but if I'm too close to the golf ball like we see here, now I'm tucking the club in to find it, what we'll generally find if I were to be stood too close and too crowded is actually, oh, that felt awful. And this is a great example. Look at where I've struck that one, right out of the heel of the golf club. And vice versa, if I were to actually hit one where I was stood too far away from the golf ball, we're going to see that actually we start to get it a little bit more toey. And they're actually not bad golf swings there, but it's just that I've got really poor impact. And look at those two, nowhere near the centre. Now, by simply actually getting the right angles, and there's a good way you can check this, once we've placed our club in here and we take our good setup, I always like to feel that if I had two fists from the grip of my golf club to touching round about where my belt is, I'll be roughly round about the right distance from the golf ball. If it's more or if it's less, I'm going to be too far away or too close. Once I've got two fists away and I couple all those other things that I've done in my swing to make me a better swinger of my driver, we should find more central shots. That's got to be out the middle. That felt great. Oh, and would you believe it, folks? Slap bang out of the middle. That is how we become a better driver of the golf ball. Guys, go through those fives. Hopefully they help you. As always, sub down below and we'll see you in your next lesson.